I was always really open with social media during my teenage years. I posted a lot on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All my accounts were public, so anyone who wanted to could follow me. I had a decent amount of followers, which I was pretty proud of at the time. It boosted my confidence. One day when I was in high school, I got a friend request on Facebook from someone I didn't know. It was a guy named Calvin who looked to be around my age. Strangely, we had no mutual friends, and he lived on the opposite side of the country as me. I decided to accept the request and see what he wanted. A short while later, he sent me a message. I was surprised to see how long it was. "Hey, I know this is going to sound really weird, but there is someone impersonating you on the internet. I met them through Instagram and were texting for a few months and practically dating. I only found out it was a catfish when my friends got nosy and started investigating online. That's when they found out that the person I was talking to wasn't really you. They just stole your name and all your pictures," the message began. Calvin went on to explain that the person had gone to great lengths to pretend to be me. They had even made a fake Facebook account for my friends and family members. He wasn't sure how many other guys out there had been catfished by this person. He sent me the links to the fake accounts, and I was shocked. The person had clearly been stalking me for ages. They knew all about my life, and they even posted drawings that I had done and uploaded pictures onto my online profile. Much to my disgust, when my grandfather passed away last month, they even posted a long tribute onto their Facebook page talking about what a great man he was and how much he was going to be missed. The people who followed the stalker's account were buying the whole thing and even left sympathetic comments under the post. The stalker had shared a GoFundMe page that they claimed was for my grandfather's funeral. It had collected over $1,000 that I'm sure they sent right to their own bank account. I couldn't believe how angry and disgusted I was. I felt so violated. I reported the fake Facebook and Instagram accounts, trying to get them taken down, but several weeks went by and nothing happened. I realized I was going to have to take matters into my own hands, so I decided I was going to catfish the catfish. With the help of a few of my friends, I made a fake Instagram and Facebook for a guy who I named Zane. I found a teenage male model online and used his pictures that I found off of Google. I used a few different apps to get myself some fake followers to make both accounts look as real as possible. Once I was all finished, I sent a direct message to the Instagram of the person pretending to be me. "Hey, I hope this isn't too forward, but I think you're gorgeous," I wrote. Based on the type of posts this person made, I could tell they were someone who liked compliments. Much to my relief, the catfish answered a short while later. They were very flattered by my message and said they thought I was cute too. We messaged back and forth for the rest of the night, and I began to ask them questions without seeming too suspicious. Much to my surprise, the person claimed to be from Boulder, Colorado, just like me. My heart began pounding as I realized this could be someone I knew. I asked them for their phone number, and sure enough, it had the same area code as mine. After about a week of texting and getting closer and closer to my catfish, I felt like it was time to finally trap them. I decided to ask them out on a date. I told them I couldn't wait to meet them in real life and told them to meet me at a local ice cream shop on Friday at 8 p.m. They accepted the invitation and told me they would see me there. I asked my friend Justin, who kind of looked like the model in the pictures, to play the role of Zane. He was going to be waiting at the ice cream shop right where I had told the catfish to meet. My other friends and I were going to be watching from the bushes with a camera. It was several minutes past 8 p.m. and I was getting worried that the catfish had gotten suspicious and decided not to come. Just as I was about to lose all hope, a girl pulled up in a silver car. She got out and took a seat right next to Justin, a big smile on her face. At first, I couldn't quite make out who the girl was. "Do you know who that is?" I whispered to my best friend Hannah. "It's Patty." I felt my blood turn cold. I did know that girl. She was my childhood best friend. We had been inseparable through most of middle school and part of high school. That was until a month ago. We had this big math test that was going to decide our final grade for the class. We were seated right next to each other, just like we always had been. I had studied for weeks for that test, and I knew my stuff. What I didn't know was that during the test, Patty had copied my answers and written them on her own test. When the teacher was going through our tests and noticed that both of us had the same wrong answers, she knew that cheating had gone on. Patty never admitted to cheating, so the teacher ended up punishing both of us with a 0 on the test. I ended up with a C and lost my place on the honor roll. I had never felt more betrayed in my whole life and cut Patty out of my life completely. Anger bubbled up to the surface as soon as I realized it was her sitting down next to Justin. Not only had she cheated on me from my test and gotten me in trouble, but now she had completely stolen my identity, stalked me, and pretended to be me to get guys. I jumped up from behind the bushes and walked over to her, recording on my phone as I went. Her face turned white as she realized it was me. The game's over, Patty. She tried to apologize, but it was too late. I had screenshots of everything and all the proof I needed. I made a deal with Patty. I told her that if she went to the teacher and told her that it was her who had cheated and not me, I wouldn't turn the screenshots over to the police. She agreed and ended up taking the fake accounts down. Ever since then, I have privated all my social media accounts and have been extra careful about what I post online. I didn't have the easiest childhood. My parents went through a nasty divorce when I was young, and my dad ended up moving out. I lived with my mom but visited my dad on the weekends. My dad ended up remarrying not long after. The only good thing to come out of the whole mess was Fern. Fern was the baby my dad had with his new wife, making me a big sister for the first time. I was absolutely in love with Fern and visited her every chance I got. By the time I was 16 years old and in high school, she was only 4, but she was still my best friend. My parents were always busy and working, so they didn't pay much attention to what I did outside of school. As long as I managed to pull good grades, they trusted me to do the right thing. I was a good kid. I was pretty shy and kept to myself. I had a few close friends that stuck by me, but I was definitely not considered popular. I did have guys that were interested in me from time to time, but I never felt the same way. I didn't really see the point to dating in high school anyway. What were the chances it was ever going to work out in the long term anyways? One night, I was just finishing up some homework when I got a friend request from someone I didn't recognize. It was a man named Joe, probably closer to my dad's age than my own. From his profile picture, I could see that he was balding and slightly overweight. Other than the fact that we were both from the same city, I didn't see any way we could have known each other. We didn't have any mutual friends. Stupidly, I decided to accept his friend request. I figured maybe he was a distant family member just trying to connect with me. It didn't take long for me to figure out that this was definitely not the case. As soon as I accepted his request, Joe went through and liked every single picture I ever posted. He commented on the most recent one, saying things like gorgeous and sexy. Considering how much older he was than me, it was definitely creepy. Then he sent me a long message saying how beautiful he thought I was. He said he had lots of money, and in exchange for my friendship, he would give me whatever I wanted. I was disgusted. I had a feeling the guy wanted a lot more than friendship, so I ended up blocking him. Not more than a few minutes later, I got a new request on Instagram. It was him again. In the next hour, he requested to follow me on every single social media account I had, even the ones I never really used, like Pinterest. It was crazy and creepy how determined he was. I blocked him on every account. If I thought that was going to be enough to get him to leave me alone, I was very wrong. Then came the phone calls and text messages. I had no idea how he had managed to get my phone number because I hadn't posted it anywhere. He left me long voicemails begging me to talk to him. I would block his phone number, but he would only call me on a different number. The more I ignored him, the angrier he got, and he started to get pretty mean in his messages. The next night, I was going through and deleting all his messages when a new voicemail popped up. It was Joe's voice, but scarier and more serious than ever. I've got your sister, Fern. You have until midnight tonight to come and get her, or she's dead. Tell anybody or bring anybody with you, and she's dead. Isn't that right, Fern? My heart broke in half when I heard my little sister's voice on the other end calling my name. Joe rattled off an address that I scribbled onto a piece of paper, my hands shaking so bad I could barely write. My mom was at work and wasn't going to be home until late. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and shoved it in my pocket and jumped in my car. I took the address that I'd written down and plugged it into my GPS and took off. I knew there was a good chance I wasn't going to make it out of this alive, but at the end of the day, if it came down to me or Fern, I wanted Fern to live. My GPS led me to what looked like an old electronics store that had been shut down. It was in the middle of an abandoned-looking strip mall with nobody around. I parked my car and ran to the door, swinging it open. It was too dark to see much, but I could hear my sister's voice calling out to me. "Jenny? Jenny, where are you?" she called out. "Fern, I'm here, where are you?" I screamed. I walked to the counter where the cash registers had once sat. Immediately, I noticed a phone sitting there. I picked it up and was surprised to see that it was a video from my mom's Facebook page that had been pulled up. It was me and Fern playing hide and seek when she was younger. I was hiding behind a couch, and she was trying to find me. "Jenny, where are you?" "There you are," she said when she found me, and we both burst into laughter. Immediately, a feeling of relief washed over me. Joe didn't have Fern. He never did. He had used that recording to trick me. I was so stupid. Suddenly, a deep voice came from behind me, causing me to whirl around. "It was so easy to get you here. You must really love that little girl." He was standing right behind me and had a gun pointed at me. "I'll do whatever you want. I'll be your friend." He looked at me with confusion. "You will?" "Yes, of course. Maybe we'll even be more than friends," I told him, taking a step closer to him. "Really?" he said, looking surprised but excited. I walked closer and closer to him until I was only inches away from his face. I put one hand on the side of his face and used the other to push the gun down so it was facing the ground. He closed his eyes and seemed to relax. The second that he did, I raised my right knee and jabbed it right into his crotch. He dropped to the ground screaming, and I ran off to my car as fast as I could and sped off. I called 911 and they caught him less than 20 minutes later. When they searched his house, they found a ton of other firearms and weapons. I have no doubt he would have killed me if he gotten the chance. I always heard about crazy stalker stories, but I never thought it would actually happen to me. That was until I was a senior in high school. I had already gotten accepted into my dream college, and I had just started dating the most handsome guy in school, Jimmy Mabel. I was really living my best life, and I didn't think anything could ruin it. That was until one night I was hanging out in my room, and I got a text from an unknown number. "Dump Jimmy, or I'll make your life a living hell," it said. I laughed out loud. This has to be some kind of joke. "Fat chance," I wrote back. "I know where you live," the person responded, including a picture taken from outside of my house. I just ignored them. I didn't think this threat was anything to be worried about until the next day. I was all ready to go to school when I discovered a nail in my front tire. I convinced myself it was probably just a coincidence and decided to walk to school instead. When I was walking to my locker, I smelled something disgusting. It smelled like rotting meat. Other people could smell it too, and they were covering their noses. I opened up my locker and immediately screamed. Inside my locker was a dead pig head, blood dripping down onto all my books and papers. I told my homeroom teacher, Mrs. Jones, and they called for a custodian to come and remove it. "Is there anybody you know that's out to get you?" she asked. But I only shook my head no. When lunch finally came around, I took a seat next to Jimmy. "Whoever it is will get bored, I promise. I grabbed you an iced latte from the coffee bar to cheer you up," he said to me, sliding over the drink. I thanked him and took a few long sips. Jimmy was talking to me about something, some sort of test, but I wasn't listening. A weird feeling had come across me. I felt woozy and like I might pass out. "Hey, you don't look so good. Are you okay?" he asked. Before I could answer, I slumped to the ground and went unconscious. I woke up in the hospital room, Jimmy at my side. "I'm so sorry, Elena. If I had known, I would have never given you that drink," he said in tears. "What do you mean?" I asked him. "It was Linda Herbert. She put drugs in your coffee. They caught her on the security cameras and she confessed. She said she was jealous and wanted to get back at you, but don't worry, you're going to be fine," he explained. Suddenly, it all made sense. Linda had always had a huge crush on Jimmy. It was that day I realized how deadly jealousy can really be. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of the other newest videos on Anna Horror. I got stuck in a water park ride overnight. It's guaranteed to send a shiver down your spine. Sleep tight.